Good morning, everybody. Grace and peace to you from our Lord Jesus Christ and all the saints here in Central California. I am coming to you my first week back after vacation. Took a week off to celebrate 37 years of marriage to my wife, lovely network admin wife, patient network admin wife. 37 years of her putting up with my flying addiction and commuting very far away to go to work, and most recently in this job, the phone calls I get in the middle of the night when something goes wrong that wakes up the entire family, not just me. So yeah, because if the phone's got to be loud enough to wake me up, it's going to wake everybody up. Anyway, we had a great time. We went to the Central California coast. If you want to look on a map, it was just 16 miles north of Fort Bragg, California, right on the coast. We were camping on a beach, Westport Beach RV Resort and Park, I think it was called. A beautiful park. We were parked about a stone's throw from the sand, and you walk across that, and there's the shoreline. It's just beautiful, rugged, lots of rocks and sand, and yeah. We did have one interesting experience while we were there. We it was our first night there. We were just falling asleep. It was about 11 o'clock at night, and all of a sudden we felt the trailer just lurch, like it had settled or something. I thought it fell off. The site was a little unlevel, so we put some leveling blocks under one of the tires, and I thought it fell off of those blocks. And my wife immediately goes, "Was that a bear?" And my thought was, why would that be a bear? With just one, it wasn't like shaking the trailer. It was just one, like a lurch, like the trailer fell. And I went and I said, "Oh, okay, I'll check." I went and I turned the light on. I looked outside. I couldn't see anything. Looked out the other side of the trailer. Couldn't see anything. So I said, "I don't know what that was." But after a few more sleepless moments, we finally fell asleep. The next day, I was talking to the campers next to us, and we were just making idle chit-chat, and they said, "Oh, have you run into the bear?" I said, "No." "Well, where's the bear?" And then the lady says, in the couple, she says, "Well, the very first night we were here, he came and he was pushing on our camper and rocking it." And I looked at her and said, "Well, I think we have run into the bear." So my wife was right. I don't know why she thought it was a bear, but she was probably right. Because the next day, later that day, I did go out and I looked around a little more closely. And yes, I did see bear tracks. And yes, I know what bear tracks look like. You can Google them. They're very distinctive looking. Plus, I love looking for animal tracks. Usually all I ever see are coyote tracks and deer tracks. Luckily, I've never seen mountain lion tracks. It's the only animal I don't want to run into is a mountain lion. Don't want to mess with one of those. Bears, they're not so bad, as long as there's no cubs around. And I don't want to run into any deer during rutting season. That's bad news too. Anyway, so that was our little adventure for that vacation. And then we just spent time driving up and down the coast and enjoying California's rugged Lost Coast scenery. Oh, we went to the Redwoods too. Enjoyed the Redwoods. Got the best dang cup of coffee I've had in a long time there in the Redwoods. So they know how to make coffee over there. All right, that was the vacation. Happy to be back the first week. Cross vacation off the list. All right. The next thing is, just before I left, we were trying to set up a site-to-site VPN tunnel with a business partner of ours. And they have some servers here on site that they need to get into and double check every now and then. And over the past month, my buddy across the aisle here and I, or the two people that are on call, we trade weeks. We've been getting called almost nightly to assist this vendor with their server, and it usually ends up with us rebooting the server. So it's been getting rebooted like every night. It got to the point to where when I was on call, I just set up a scheduled task in Windows to just reboot it every night, because there's no need to wake me up at 3 in the morning to reboot a server. It can do that all by itself. So, and I'd only would do that when I was on call. I let Leo, my buddy over there, figure out how he was going to deal with it. But so this company, they really didn't like us doing that, but they understood because we need to. I mean, these servers control sending lab results from patients into their medical records. So they understood that needs to happen. So they were looking past that, but they really wanted to get in and look at the logs on these servers every time they locked up to see what was going on. So we set up a remote access solution for them, which their internal security group said, no, we're not going to allow that. So the bottom line is we ended up having to set up a site-to-site tunnel for them. And the issue got resolved before I left, before we even set up the site-to-site tunnel. But the issue was resolved. This was just for the next time there's an issue, and I'll tell you what the resolution was at the end. At the end of this story. So we just did it via email, and I hate setting up site-to-site tunnels. I really do, because they always turn into a 4-hour-long call with, lots of awkward pauses and people trying to, let's do a stare and compare, let's review our configurations, and it turns into a whole ordeal. So just before I left, he sends me the VPN config they'd like to use, and I said, yeah, no, I see no problem with that. And the boss, AC, who's also our security guy, he was kind of busy. He had a new intern he was trying to spin up and get, acclimated and get her going. So he kind of gave it a brief look and said, yeah, it looks fine. So I went ahead and set up our end of the tunnel. And I sent encrypted email, sent him the pre-shared key, sent him all our information, including our peer IP. I sent him that twice. And I'm thinking, I told him, hey, I got my site set up. Give it a try. And if my boss can help troubleshoot with you next week while I'm on vacation, then great. And if not, then it'll have to wait till I get back, which was this past Monday. Today's Wednesday, so it's 2 days ago. So, and Sunday night, I was thinking about that, and I lost sleep over it because I hate setting up VPN tunnels. And I thought, oh man, when I get back to work, we are going to be it's going to take all day to get this thing going. And get back to work Monday morning, and sure enough, there's an email waiting for me. We can't get the tunnel to come up. Your peer isn't responding. So, okay. So I was going through my configuration. Then he sends in another email and says, here's our configuration. And I looked at it real quick, and I was getting ready to do some screenshots of ours and send it back to him and say, look, we're matching the same thing. And then I actually read the whole email, even down to the bottom where he finally put in a log, and I said, peer, blah, 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 IP address, blah, 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 was not responding. Looked at the IP address, and it was like 2 digits off of what I gave him. Ours ended in this is just an example. It's not what ours really ends with. It ends in a 93. He had .91. Well, that's the gateway. Why? Anyway, I sent an email back to him, also encrypted, and said, hey, why don't you change your peer IP, our IP to this. And he goes, "Oh, sorry, I must have made a typo." I said, "Yeah, because I sent this to you twice already." Yeah, I didn't say that. Anyway, so I didn't hear from him for a while, and then I came in and popped open the firewall just to look, and tunnel's up. And it wasn't, I don't know, maybe 20 minutes later, I get an email from him. So, "Hey, the tunnel's up and we can reach the hosts." And no one was more surprised than me, because I just set that all up in the blind before I left. Okay, this is the phase 1, phase 2 protocols they want to use. Okay, here's his peer. Okay, get the VPN side set up. They were going to do natting on their end, which is great. I love it when they do that. So I didn't have to set up any NAT policies. I only had to set up a security policy, which I did for the 4 servers that they need to get to. So that's the only things they can get to. And our DNS servers. So if they're, I don't know if they're going in by name or by IP. So, so I give them, gave them all that and just set it all up and said, okay, that should work. That should work. It almost never does, because I always forget something. All these commenters out there that tell me I'm not a very good network admin. You're absolutely right. I'm not a very good network admin. But I got this job. Anyway, yeah, I was really surprised. It came up and I said, okay, well, but have your support people test it, because I wasn't convinced. I didn't know how this guy was testing it. And yeah, they said it's all working. And just as a test, I went in our firewall and I looked and saw, okay, where are they coming from when they're hitting these servers? I got their return IP address. I logged into one of the servers and just started a ping out to them, because I saw that the tunnel had dropped in the meantime. The tunnel was down. I thought, So I got on one of our servers and I pinged out his IP address. The tunnel came right back up, and the pings were responding. I think it took 2 pings before the tunnel came up, and then I started getting ping returns. So anyway, that was a pleasant surprise coming back from vacation. I was kind of a little worried about having to troubleshoot that, and turns out I didn't need to be worried about that. Okay, site-to-site VPN tunnel done. And the last thing I'll talk about is this week we had an AP go down. I'm going to turn you around here and show you real quick. Hopefully you guys can see that. This guy here, MNH222. That's a AP in the main hospital, and it is down. I tried several things to revive that. I tried, first of all, power cycling it. So get onto the switch and you just disable inline power, re-enable inline power. Sorry, you guys are a little skewed now. There you go. Re-enable inline power. That didn't do it. I was trying to get in there to reset it to factory defaults. So I said, okay, this sometimes happens. It'll lose contact with the controller, and it'll just go into a panic and reboot. It'll come up, it'll try to contact the controller, it'll go through several retries, and then it'll reboot. So I set up a constant ping. I was going to try to secure shell to it. And there's sometimes with these older 3935s, if you can SSH into them and then reset them to factory defaults, let them reboot, they'll come back up, find the controller, and then you can go from there, and they're just fine. This one just wasn't playing nicely, so I set up a constant ping, and it never responded to a constant ping. I was watching on the switch, watching the port status, and it would go up, and it would go into ready mode, and it would be up, and then it would go into ready mode. Ready mode means down, basically. So the port was bouncing up and down. And I caught that. Oh no, don't go to sleep. It went to sleep. I caught that because I I was checking the logs on this one particular switch. What's my password? There we go. And because the switch kept, on Intermapper, my network monitoring thing, the switch kept indicating there was an issue. So I went under the switch. What's the issue? Excuse me. One particular port was bouncing up and down. So I could see that in the logs. And I checked that port, and that port had this AP on it, and this AP was not responding here. So you just saw the status. So anyway, what I've done is I've taken a spare AP here and configured it and put a note on it for Jose to come pick it up. Why does Jose need to be involved? Because I don't have a ladder, number one. I don't have the tools, number two, to stick this up on the wall. And yes, this is one of the places where it's mounted like this rather than mounted like this, which is what it's supposed to be. One commenter did point that out, and yeah, we do realize that, but there are some places where it's just not possible. So some places they are mounted vertically rather than horizontally as they are intended. So yeah, I can't get up there to remount it. So anyway, I reconfigured this one, and I'll just plug it in so you guys can see what it's supposed to look like. Plug this guy in, and right now you can see that they're both showing down. That's the MNH222, and I haven't bothered renaming this one yet. It's still named as its serial number. Went ahead and put the label on it. As you can see, sure have a way to identify these things if you use APs. Make sure you know how they are. And the way I do it is it's MNH is main hospital. The first digit is the floor number, and the second two digits are just the AP number. So, and I've got them all on a map in here. So anyway, this guy's gonna go through a reboot cycle. You'll see like one LED for a long time as it's booting up, and momentarily they will start flashing to indicate that it's doing something. Finding the network, finding the controller, and this thing is heavy, number one, and number two, it doesn't do anything fast. I was hoping the newer APs would be faster. That was a false hope. They're not any faster. They boot up just as slow. So this HP PC I got here boots up super fast. So there we go. There's the flashing lights I was talking about. So you'll see those guys flash, and in a moment. So this is the power light. This is the network 1 light, network 2 light, radio 1, radio 2. And right now, all this flashing just indicates that it's booting up and it's doing its thing. And eventually, it'll settle down, and I'll see up on the screen, it will turn green to show that it's up. Here we go. Now it's finished its boot up cycle. So we got good power, we got network, we got radio 1 is on, radio 2 is on, and now look at my status. Let's see that the replacement one is now green. It's up. So I guess this guy's all configured, ready to go. Put a note on it for my buddy Jose in engineering to replace that when he can, and then he'll bring the old one back. I'll try to revive it. I'll put a console cable on it and see if I can get into it, and if not, I'll just call Extreme and see if they want to RMA it. Though I don't see much point in doing that because I've still got a few spares back there, number one, and number two, we're replacing these all in about 6 months, so there's no real rush to do this. So anyway, that's all I got this week for you guys. It's kind of a longish video, but I had stuff to talk about after I got back. Talked about the failed AP. I got no more items on my list. So If you like what you saw, click the subscribe button, click the notification bell, please. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Leave a comment with any questions you have or concerns, or you want to, keep taunting me about being such a horrible admin. It really doesn't bother me, guys. Don't worry about it. Nobody needs to rush to my aid. I just find it funny more than anything. Usually it's the people that want to be and aren't or can't be that get the maddest about me doing what I do. So just kind of jealousy. So anyway, so leave a comment with any questions or answers. Answers especially. Questions or concerns. And prayer requests also. Love getting those. Love praying for you guys. Keep praying for me. So that's all I got this week. We'll see you all next time. God bless.